Right, so we're back on Runcorn Salt Union, and I'm just doing some work on the roads here at the moment. Wanted to add a bit of animation to this layout, and I think that it's great having a bit of shunting action with the locomotives and things, but I think the spectator wants to see more than just that. So I've devised this little scheme to have using the fallow road system to have a bit of movement of vehicles that can negotiate the roads, because most of this layout is actually roads that went around the industrial site, and there's a bit of a junction here, and I thought, well, if there's a junction there's plenty of opportunity to have cars crossing the tracks and further on as well, so having a few circulating around at the same time would be of interest. And also there's a few barriers on the site here as well, and you'll note that some of the tracks for the road system also negotiate the same shared tracks as the one for the railway. So there's a bit of operation there where you've got to avoid, when you're shunting, hitting the road vehicles, and I thought that could be quite interesting. So adding the roads, how is it done? Well, quite simply, there's a steel wire which runs around the layout, and this is something that you've got to fit. Fowler does provide wooden templates which are basically bits of MDF, and these have the correct curvature for the tracks, a little bit of wire that is, to run inside. There's a minimum turn radius with the Fowler system, and if you exceed that the vehicle will run off because it can't turn fast enough, lose the track and then go haywire. So that's something to bear in mind. As you can see from the layout here, I've used plaster, and from the archive photographs I've created the terrain to match the terrain seen in the photographs. So if we put the camera lower here, you can see there's a bit of a rise at this side of the layout, and then it goes down and then up again to meet the tracks. That's a lot of sanding required, and probably more hard work than was necessary, because in all honesty, once this is painted you might not see that dip, but it's there if you get your camera down low. So in total we've got, I think it crosses the tracks around 8 times. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is I'm going to loop it back onto the same track here, continue, and then perhaps have a loop coming back on itself. And the way you get it back on the same loop is, so this, as you can see, trial and error trying to get it work with the various diameters of wire. This is the wire it comes back on, but it stops there and then picks up on this wire here. And because I don't want to go down this one when I'm heading this way, we want the vehicles to be travelling on the left, this is continuous. And then we've got little bits that go in between the tracks, and it just picks up. Lots of trial and error. There are some areas where it crosses the track, and because it upsets the front wheels, there's a tendency for the magnet to wobble a little bit, so you have to add extra little bits of wire. And then further along here there are some areas where I've added extra wire just to pick up in case and send it back on the correct trajectory. So let's get started. This is one of Fowler's vehicles. You can see the little motor there to the gearbox, the charging terminals because it's got a battery inside, directional steering which is controlled by a magnet that you can see to the front of the vehicle, and we just pop this down on the track. It follows it around. You can see there's plenty of suspension there to negotiate all those potential lumps and bumps in your road system, and you just switch it on with this little switch underneath. So let's just see this do a full lap.